an Arquez can be in. So as we head into Overpass, our eyes are peeled as we patiently wait for the game to start. It's ECSTATIC CT side, finest map pick of Overpass. Let's see what we see.
Looking forward to this one. CT side start is meant for ECSTATIC, so they get the arguably better side to start on, but of course, finest make a statement in towards the pistol round and things could go their way. Early bit of contacting towards Monster, but so far, so slow. A triple stack from the CT side though. They're banking on this B here.
Yeah, and as you can see, Bird from Sky here just to be the supportive element, the unit to try and help out these players, and Zello, well, that's a great start. Headshot finding Plessen, the solo monster push fizzles out, and all of a sudden, Finest turn their attention to Connector.
Well, rotation being made back over towards that A short position. It's oh so slow, oh so methodical. Of course, the sound of the door closing would have been heard, and I think ECSTATIC got all to aware of this. Look at that rotation made back over towards A, and they're going for a nice passive approach. They're banking on Fasher to find that information, and I think he may have just spotted some.
I think he may have spotted the arm of one, but as he continues to jump, only time will tell to see if he will react accordingly to it. Now that jump's found, it's definitely the A play. He's going to be screaming into his teammates, but it's Twist to tear his head off as the first kill. The Glock continues to spam, but the smoke of his teammate to save his life. He's got the bomb in hand and didn't want to risk it falling into the hands of the ECSTATIC side, so it's going to be punched in, set down, and now that 4-on-4, the long slog of a retake here for ECSTATIC with the Glock of shots finding two, make it nearly a third. It's so much damage to Bird from Sky, and while Manx is able to collect a second kill, there's flank after flank, and Kriaz, the only thorn in their side that can take ECSTATIC down, and that's a pistol for the finest side.
Oh, that Shock's double made the difference, didn't it? What a start to Finest. And a brilliant mid-round call, a mid-round adjustment there. They kind of tested the waters over towards B, and they realized that there was a lot of utility in the CT side's hands, and there was no need to overextend in towards Monster and try and contest an area which is going to be so tough and so expensive and costly to get out towards. Rotation made back over towards A, and they just overwhelmed the side. Shots extending in towards Bank, finding a double kill, and that seals the deal. Brilliant start for Finest on their pistol round. First run on the board as well means a nice comfortable buy for the T side, which isn't the same over towards ECSTATIC. Just the USPs for them.
And look at this. They're going for the pyramid play towards Connector, right? I think they're just sitting right outside of it, patiently waiting maybe for some entity to come their way. Unfortunately, Finest, with a very early call, have drawn all their resources out towards B, the bomb included. So they're just going to go for the B pop here. Unfortunately, it will be a vacant B site, so this utility basically null and void, but it does confirm the site is clear. We have it in our hands. And, well, I guess now just wait for the ECSTATIC guys to rotate in and see if they can mop up any kills. Maybe the MAC-10s can get involved and find some decent financial contribution.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the kind of, at the very least, don't overextend the AK, for example. But, you know, the MAC-10s, may as well go hunting for a bit of cash. They are the cash cows, right? So, against USPSs with no armor, this is where they can find some money. As that car is good for one. Look, to make it a second, but actually going to make the smart decision just to fall back and invite the pressure in. Finding one, two more. Looking for the third for the quad kill. Will he find it? Nearly knifed in the case, but at the very least, at range, the AK can tap away. It's a USPS of Zello left all alone. Now, might be able to pick himself on MAC-10, but is it worth the risk? Probably not. A 1 versus 4, all alone. He is being hunted as well. The MAC-10 looking for even more cash in the bank, and Zello's going to fall to the bomb explosion. Second round on the board for Finest, and a much, much better round again from them. This time, they were completely clear about what they wanted to do. Post-spawn set up, and there was no if, buts, and maybes. That's another round on the board for them.
How many times have you seen 2 AWPs brought out in the third round? An Arquez for the T side, Zello for the CT side. They're going to bring out the brick greens very early on in this matchup. There's still a MAC-10 on Plessen as well. But for the ECSTATIC boys, they're going to go for the M4s. They're bringing out everything they can. Zello, a glass cannon, in fact, to the cause. And so, for Finest, maybe, this is going to be a bit of a steep investment, but not as bold and brave as ECSTATIC. The nade coming over, Bird from Sky taking a bit of early damage, but it isn't paired. So Finest, only with a single nade, will find themselves a very slight lead in the beginning of round 3.
Well, bit of damage, as you mentioned, but so far, no real kind of overextension. And I guess you could say for Finest, this is technically a bonus round. I mean, of course, the AWP, a very expensive investment, but Anikas is allowed that. He got a quad kill with the MAC-10. The money's in the bank. He's allowed to do exactly that. But of course, then there's the Galil support, the MAC-10 as well. Not the best of buys to make way over towards Long. And Zello, the stand-up AWPer, of course, replacing some big boots to fill off Wolfie. Getting off to a good start as he finds Anarchist. That's an important kill because we already mentioned about how crucial he is to the success of Finest.
Yes, this is looking pretty promising to find that man advantage. And as you said, that AWP on AWP battle going in the way of what we can only assume is going to be the temporary standing of Zello. And that's very fortunate that they can pick up that early lead and find that negotiation advantage. We've got that 5-on-4. You have to come towards us now. We can play our own game. That's what ECSTATIC are feeling at around the 25-second mark. There's minimal time left here. Great flashbang, but Twist reads into it very nicely. And ECSTATIC now implode towards A. They send all the utility forward, but Fash is good for one. Looking for a second, but Pleasant has it with the AWP. 10 seconds left on the clock. They've got minimal time to make the moves. And another missed shot for the AWP. This time from Pleasant, but he's backed in for another. He's got to set the bomb down. There's 4 seconds left. The M4's going to deny. And all Manx has to do is play for the seconds. He will go down, but the bomb doesn't go. And Finest concede their first. ECSTATIC, heroics from Manx. And he's the man to turn up when needed. What a round from him.
Yeah, that's considerably better round there from ECSTATIC. They isolated the fights brilliantly, but I think the most important thing was that opening kill, right? The AWP finds the first, takes the man advantage, and Zello plays it perfectly. Just takes a step away, doesn't need to overextend, doesn't go hunting for a second, because he knows what sort of buy Finest were bringing in towards that, which of course was the MAC-10s and Galils from that prior round. So he knows it's very easy for him to be overwhelmed. Take a step away, give up that room, and just wait for the trades on the side. That's exactly what they play. They play the numbers advantage and perfectly. First on the board for ECSTATIC. And a Finest tactical timeout, I think, is not even too bad of a call. What we do see once again, another AWP picked up by Anarchus.
Yeah, I think the timeout, as you said, maybe a bit premature to the game, but that should have been their round win. They waited too late in the round to press in, and they lose a lot of traction for it, a lot of momentum, and it was a big investment made by them. You can see, oh, okay, that is...
Bogdan's it's okay, it's all right.
I mean, I don't know, Blessing's just like left-clicked his teammate in the back or something. I don't know what's going on.
He's got the AWP, so it's all right. Bogdan's hang on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
A great read. Pleasant and Twist, just snappy accuracy. They flick towards Long, Fasher and Dafu out of the round. And ECSTATIC, okay, sure, they were able to pick up the previous, but that is a horrific way to start round 4.
Ryan, remember what I said about ECSTATIC doing a good job of not overextending? I'll take it back. That's a poor decision to go over towards Long, and because of that, Finest had all the manpower to very easily mop up those opening 2 kills. And now you look over towards the CT side, who, bearing in mind, have nothing left in the bank. It's a double MP9, 1 FAMAS left for them to work with to deny 5 T sides, looking like they're posturing over towards the A side. I mean, this is a dire situation for them, but they are stacked over towards Long. This could work in their favor.
Oh, brilliant shot from an Arquez as well, only extending that very gap for the Finest side. And well, as you can see, the utility starts to pour in, but it does feel like it's all just a bit of a show to put on for the viewers at home, because it is a 2-on-5. And well, okay, MP9 to do some serious damage. A nade might just finish the job, in which it does. So an Arquez dropped and AWP gone. Still that same problem to arise, right? Okay, sure, there is the, you know, the give or take that you've picked up the big green. Problem is, Shox has set the bomb down, right? You're in a 2-on-4 in the first place. What's the likelihood that you win this round? And while Manx is able to pick up 1, I don't think that is going to be doubled or improved on anytime soon. He's going to chuck out the AWP, in fact, try and face with the USP or the MAC-10 or MP9 in this case. Just see if he can find any gun to upgrade on and find some exits. And for Finest, they need to keep some players alive because their money's pretty low.
Yeah, well, as we stand, I mean, when you look towards Manx, if he can't have the AWP, they can't have the AWP. I think that's probably the right way to play it. Try and deal whatever damage you can left with that FAMAS, but yeah, another round in favor of Finest. And this is now already starting to kind of ring some slight alarm bells, because, you know, Overpass is one of those maps that's generally seen as quite considerably CT-sided. And I think it's safe to say that Finest so far have looked like the better side on the server. They've been more decisive in their decisions, of course. And for ECSTATIC, we're already starting to see some quite considerable gaps start to open up. Long, for example, has been problematic, and we've seen ever so slightly that A-site hold being a bit of a gap in their armor. And if Finest are able to find that similar gap over towards the B site, it becomes a problematic map number 1.
And well, here we go, utility out towards the B site. Fast rush, MAC-10 to collect its first, but only the one. Fashion straight with the USP as it creates a bit of carnage, but the M4 of Shox has got things covered. Dafu to cover base as he does find the M4 late in the round, but Pleasant to find the last with the MAC-10. A lot to digest there, Neo, but we can start with the kills that came in for the CT side. A couple of them heading into round 6, of course, is the reinvestment made by that T side, something that ECSTATIC obviously were buying into. Yeah,
I mean, well, it was a massacre, wasn't it? That's what I like to put it. The round was done in about 5 seconds. But to find a couple of kills for ECSTATIC, it's a silver lining in a bit of a bad situation, that being the lost round. But they'll take what they can get, right? A couple of kills, not the end of the world. Now in towards mid, Pleasant leading the charge, spotting out the first as well. Zello falling is an unfortunate start for ECSTATIC, and another situation where they lose that man advantage.
Yeah, and if that continues, Finest will walk right through them here on the T side. And we talk about maybe the, you know, the edge given to the CT side and how this is more of a CT-sided map. This absolutely runs in the favor of the Finest camp. Nice job from Dafu. No flash, no nothing. It's a dry, bare swing in towards short. A bird from Sky will double up on it as well. So from a 4-on-5, they do manage to turn things round to a 3-on-3. They do lose that bird from Sky. Brain, however, they still have the aim. Manx, Fasher, and Dafu all equipped with M4s.
As we stand, it's a bit of a dicey spot over towards A. There's one player left there, not a Fasher. Probably the best player they could ask for to be anchoring. And with the utility popping over towards Monster, I guess he's be careful. Or comes alive, good for one, and falling away as well. A brilliant play from him, because it means now that they've got the gaps over towards the B side and simultaneously the A side. Because look where Pleasant is.
And well, 30 seconds left. Time is going to be one little bit of a problem. A 3-on-2 scenario. The T side have got to make the moves. Fasher would have spotted, and that's going to be it. The bomb's going to commit towards B. They don't have time to run it back up unless if it goes through connector. And so this M4 could be in poised position, but an Arquez, he's got the kill in his pocket anyway. No problems at all. Finest up to 5.
We highlight Arquez coming in towards this series, and for good reason, because he has got such an impact so far, right? I mean, what a performance he's having. Another brilliant round from him where you can see his decision-making is just that cut above. Finds a kill, takes a step away, invites the pressure in towards Monster because he knows they're walking into his crosshair. They know, well, he knows he's got all the advantages there, and, well, they use it. A 5-on start, 4-round lead, and once again, back over towards ECSTATIC. Well, Retro, that economy isn't looking too fruitful. I mean, it's looking a bit of a dire spot as we stand. Upgraded pistols is what they're going to find here, but not much more. And there's no point over it investing, right? Because they're going to leave them with a terrible economic situation and stability going in towards the middling part of this kind of map number 1. So as we stand, ECSTATIC more or less giving up a 6th over towards Finest, unless they can pull off something special, that is.
Yeah, pistols is all they have here. ECSTATIC equipped into round 7. They do have a slight chance. I guess the upgrades here and there can provide a bit of damage, but they are absolutely going to need heroics here if they want to find themselves in a good position where they find themselves that second round, and more importantly, a place back on the map. And unfortunately, the AK2 beat the Deagle in that engagement. Zello down to 23 points of health. Still a 5-on-5, but once again, those early advantages and a bit of a read into the financial situation here on the CT side means that Finest are going to be in a really good spot heading into this round.
Rotation being made back over towards that B site. I mean, so far, Finest, even though they know they're going to be having a much better kind of buy coming into this sort of round, they're not making any kind of hugely fast decisions here. They're waiting for the mistake still from ECSTATIC just to guarantee a round. And I like that. It's methodical, right? They don't want to do anything just too overzealous right now. But Flash are going to be tested momentarily. In comes the flashbangs, playing anti-flash. He stun, good for one. Make that a second as he comes alive on towards Twist. The AWP all alone and nearly finding a third. But I don't know, because it was P250 just about brings it level.
Yeah, really nicely done. 40 seconds left, and they go for the second wave, the second push. Shock's up close with his AK. Needs to find, ideally, 2 to cement this round in. And the low HP player of Zello gone, meaning there's a Deagle and a 5-7 in the mixer here for ECSTATIC to take their second. And while an Arquez is low, I don't think this is going to be a prime position for them to capitalise. And Shots, he'll line up all 3. A very nice hold from him for the Finest camp, giving them their 6th, and more importantly, extending that lead to 5. It continues here for Finest. And well, what it feels like, yet to drop around since the pistol.
Yeah, I mean, as we stand so far, so good. There's absolutely no complaints over towards Finest. Their playstyle has been really, really well executed so far. And I think what we are seeing is why this is a weak map for ECSTATIC. They look a little bit lost at times, a little bit confused. Their rotations have been, I say overzealous. I think that's probably not a bad way to put it, because they hit the slightest bit of information over towards one side and fully commit. And that's where they've been finding a lot of problems. You saw it previous as well, where kind of Flash was all alone over towards long. And these sort of situations have been causing problems long term each and every round for ECSTATIC. But finally, they do have a buy coming into this one, and Zello with the AWP.
But look at the damage already taken. The nade's done wonders, but Dafu looking to one-up. He was one of the lower HP players from Pleasance HE. And Manx sitting on the back of the site. He's now going to be the man to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And that's the VIP gone. The bomb dropped in the open. Burp from Sky follows up for a second. And just like that, an Arquez and Twist remain to fight off 4 between them. That's the pace, that's the bar that ECSTATIC wanted to set from the get-go. And finally, they're able to deliver. It's the second round. It comes quite late here on the CT side. The 8-1 being played, of course, and possibly their second on the board, unless an Arquez and Twist can pull off the clutch.
This will take something special to make their way back. He's ever so cautious of the con wrap, and for good measure, but he's going to find a kill nonetheless. 2 versus 3, Fasher out of the equation gives them a bit of a lifeline extended in towards around the break to potentially find their 7th on the board, but it's down to just 2, as we mentioned. Let's pick himself a Molotov. The AW of Zeller comes alive for one of his own. The orbs have been a big problem, and they're showing their true colors once again. And now I think for Anarchist, it might even just be a save call. His economy is great, but just keep hold of the orb.
Yeah, it's the risk, right? 15 seconds left. You've got to collect the bomb. You've got to clear a site and set a bomb down. It's just such little time to do so much and make so much of an impact. So it really isn't just going to happen here. As you can say, an Arquez, he's chilling. He doesn't mind saving the AWP. He's got money. His team's got money. So they can just rebuy the AKs, and there's no real problem for them to just keep this going. For ECSTATIC, it's their first in a little while. Let's see if they can run with the momentum. A couple of weapons saved across, including the AWP. This is not a bad spot to be in here for the CT side, but we always know the finance is an issue, so let's hope for the best here heading into round 9.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what we have got. I mean, at the very least, a decent start, and we're hoping now that for ECSTATIC, it can be the start of kind of a catalyst of success going forward. They can start to find a bit of momentum in their favor, and their comfortability, and that was aggressive. And Zeller only paying the price where he's dropped to 56 points of HP. Nearly the worst start for ECSTATIC into round number 9. Beautiful, beautiful.
That early HP lead could have been so much more, as you said, but no. Absolutely not meant to be. Well, with the time ticking away and things looking pretty hush, safe to say that ECSTATIC here more than happy with the lack of advantage they've maintained. The utility isn't great either here, Neo, so with a minute and 8 to go, I think they're going to be speculative as to what they do next. Probably the more passive approach, use the minimal utility they have, just to try and hold on.
It's a slower tempo here, and I do think Finest are... Well, they've got the right idea, haven't they? They're trying to just bait out a bit of that CT utility, try and find, as we mentioned, those small gaps, but they make their way back over towards A, where they've had previous success before, but this time it's not as empty as it was prior.
40 seconds left. Time is ticking. That AWP of an Arquez looking for a way and looking to wiggle his way out of long and supply a bit of help to his team that are grouping up towards short right now. Dafu, I can only guess, is going to be charging up the smoke maybe for the play, or up close. Zello, he'll find the opener and given enough space to get away, and an early man advantage falls in favor of ECSTATIC, and there's no time to rotate here for Finest. There's Fasher, he'll pick up another bird from Sky, gonna take a third, and while Kriaz has got space towards short, he has not got the bomb, and there just isn't enough time to retrieve it and win the round. ECSTATIC to pinch it again away just by the matter of time. The seconds are enough to guide them to a third.
I like what Finest are trying to do in terms of, you know, leave it late, try and overwhelm the site, but that's the other side of it, right? Where they don't have time to make their way on towards the site. They don't have time to clear all the angles efficiently, and because of that, they pay the price. But that hold from ECSTATIC, it's exquisite, isn't it? I mean, the crossfires are perfect. Not a gap in that A site hold, and because of that, they barely even lost any sort of damage, realistically speaking. It was a very clean cut CT round for them to find their third. And for Finest, what was a real good kind of period of success for them is starting to dwindle a little bit.
Damn. Nade as well doing some early damage. ECSTATIC have usually been on the receiving end of plays like that, but not this time, Max! Oh my good god, look at the damage! It's 290 more or less through a smoke, and he's only taken a third of his bar himself. That's a great trade and a great advantage established. A wonderful job, and it's heroics like this that are giving ECSTATIC a chance. Sure, it was a late start, and once they finally get that engine going, they're looking very, very definitive here on the CT side of Overpass. Let's see if they can continue to hold on.
That's the question, right? A two-man advantage taken. More or less can say it's a third, as Pleasant's on 11 points of HP. Not exactly where they want to be. And it's probably another situation where an Arquez doesn't really want to test the waters too much with that AWP. Does it need to be overextended? Probably not. Shock's falling. More or less might confirm just an early save call. Try and keep hold of what they've got. But that's going to be easier said than done. Anakin's coming alive. One of his own. The AWP has been spotted, and now the CT side can go on a bit of a hunt. It's a 2 versus 4 as they once again make their way over towards that of Long. But how do they want to play this? I'd be very surprised if they actually try and commit over towards A.
If they do, this could be very detrimental to them. The big green still in the picture for Zello, who has found really good success just wiggling between the angles and weaving his way through the offensive Finest. And with 20 seconds left of game, we're leaving it so late in the round. This is a save, in fact, for Finest. They're not going to be pressuring for anything. But even then, it has taken them a while to figure out what they want to do. And even then, it's done and dusted. Chalked up to an ECSTATIC fourth, slowly clawing their way back into the game here, ECSTATIC. Round by round, they are solving the puzzle here for their CT side. Finest at 6-0. Even if this is to be the next 5 in a row for ECSTATIC, it's safe to say I'm well impressed by the Finest T side.
Yeah, no, exactly that. I mean, it's safe to say it was a bad start, but it's been a really good resurgence. What we're seeing now is what we'd expect from ECSTATIC, right? Where they're very good at finding these opening advantages in their favor. We talk about the opening kill, for example, which has been a big part of their success because they're very good at finding one and just falling away. That time with double spray down, they'll take the second through the smoke, nearly the third as well. A little bit of luck goes a long way. We saw it exactly in towards that prior round. But for what was a fantastic start from Finest, Retro is not looking so good now. It's been a really tough last kind of 3 rounds where they realistically struggled to find more than 2 or 3 kills.
And if you look at the kill distribution, maybe that's why. Finest have Shocks at 11 and 6, Kriaz at 2 and 4. You know, it's a big gap between the two. But
precisely.
If you look to that CT side, of course, highest is 6, lowest is 3. So, although not as many kills, the gap definitely reduced. And everyone playing to a fairly similar level. ECSTATIC finally reading in at the right page here on Overpass. And if you've only just joined us, you can turn to the top right-hand corner of your screens, I should say. Overpass, map 1 picked by ECSTATIC, Ancient map 2... Oh, sorry, by Finest, Ancient map 2 picked by ECSTATIC, and should we need it, the decider of Vertigo. So, Finest having 6 on the T side is respectable, considering we know this side can be pretty lethal on that CT. However, ECSTATIC, should they even lose this map, there's a chance that they can pull off the reverse sweep. With their map pick second, at least we'll see a bit of Ancient action again today, because I'm not sure if anyone's been catching up, but there has been a severe lack of Ancient in recent times. I'm quite disappointed, you know, for those maybe.
Yeah, agreed.
The majors going on, I've been seeing ESL tweet about it. No one's picked up on the fact the best map in the pool, Ancient, is yet to be picked. Maybe it has now that we're into the BO3s. Haven't been keeping up as much, but I've been gutted, man. I just wanted to see some Ancient BO1s.
Yeah, I mean, not enough Ancient, and I think a little bit too much Dust 2. I don't know if you'd agree,
mate,
but
I hate that
I'm not
map.
a fan.
It's all right.
Not a fan. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Dust 2, and there's been way too much of it in the major. Thankfully, we don't see any of it today, so no complaints over here. This is why ESL brings the best, because we don't get Dust 2, and we actually get kind of a nice variety of maps coming in towards this best of 3, right? Especially if you go the full distance. Overpass, Ancient, Vertigo, 3 of the most util and strat heavy maps in the entire pool. The only other kind of contender in terms of being strat and util heavy is probably Nuke. But I mean, I'm a big fan of this map. You don't see the standard kind of age-old Mirage, Dust 2, Inferno. No, we get an actual bit of a change to the pool, and it's so far so good. What was a brilliant start for Finest, not looking so great, and ECSTATIC finding their form once again. But one thing I do want to float here, Ryan, is that kind of on a map like Overpass, which is generally seen as one of the more CT-sided maps in the entire pool, I don't even think 6 rounds on T-side is even that bad.
No, that's the thing going for Finest, right? As I said, if worse comes to worse and ECSTATIC to wipe the floor with the rest of the half, Finest, realistically, at the halftime whistle, can afford to just go, do you know what? Okay, that was a shocking end to our T side. But we have 6 rounds, you know, win the pistol, and we're right back into the game. And considering how important the AWP is on this map and how good an Arquez can be, this could really enable this Finest side on the CT half. But without further ado, we jump right back into the action here. Tech timeout over, round 11, ECSTATIC 4, Finest 6.
Well, let's see what we can find. Coming to round number 11, we've already seen slightly dicey buys, and it's the same situation over towards the Finest side. Just a Deagle for Shock, supported by a Galil of Kriaz. Not exactly the most preferential a buy for them, and Kriaz is just testing the water over towards Monster. A couple of spams coming through. Nearly paid the price for it prior, and Pleasant exactly the same. This time, slightly more passive. I think it's probably the way to play it.
Yeah, this is not ideal whatsoever here. ECSTATIC taking little bits of damage here and there, but the buy for the T side is so alarming, right? Shocks on a Deagle, Kriaz on a Galil. Not very ideal whatsoever. And while Shocks is going to chuck down the con smoke and draw the boost to look through to the wall bang and see what they can find. Bird from Sky, in fact, going for a jump spot, and he picks up on a couple of players, I want to say, here on short, and the reaction, just chuckle the util in the world towards it. They're going to delay as much as they can.
About it to play as well, but this also does play into the way Finest like to play it. That's a nice opener. Kriaz, I question the Galil, and it comes back to bite me and Dafu too as he falls, and the man advantage goes the way of Finest. Now, it's the first time in a long time we've seen them pick up this first kill. The question is now, what do they do with it? And it looks like they're doubling back up towards A.
Oh, and a nice shot from Zello to start things off. Shock's gone, and that 5-on-4 quickly turned into a level standpoint once more. Finest looking for their way back in, looking for their chance. And while that Galil's still in the round, the CT side have the better buy, the better edge. And look at the time, it's 18 seconds. But Plessen missed shots, but he's able to convert. The Heaven flanks found everything in the round. And Fasher, while he's good for one, they still got to retrieve the bomb. There's 9 seconds left. He's got to go pick it up, Krias. Is there enough time? There's 5 seconds left. The bomb does just get planted. And man, oh man, Finest leaving it to the last second, but they do get it done. But the round is not over yet. Flasher coming in from Monster will find the first spray. Transfer for a second, and all of a sudden, it's twists against 2. And while he's got his back turned towards Short, Fasher's still alive. Fasher's still kicking, and it's more than just Fasher. It's ECSTATIC to 5. What a round, and what a job from him.
What a retake that was. They looked down and out for the count, especially with that Heaven wrap coming through. And, well, a little bit of a laboured spray, but found the double there from Pleasant, and it really gave them what they needed to essentially guarantee that B site. What a retake. Fasher finding one. Same can be said for Zello as well, when they put up a 5th round on the board. I got slight flashbacks as well to, if I'm right, I think was it Stewie who had a really bad spray, or was it Tarek from
It was Tarek.
Overpass?
It was
Tarek. And yeah,
it was Jay and Dwayne casting it. I remember on Overpass.
I remember oh so well. It was just
both heads and misses.
Yeah, I got like a PTSD flashback, like, oh, please no, because the first bit of that spray was a bit dicey, but no, he recovered it, so credit where credit's due. But yeah, I mean, what a retake from ECSTATIC. Fasher again, showing why he is like the big name of ECSTATIC in that retake. Just brilliantly disciplined.
And it still wasn't enough. He talks about the discipline. And while Kriaz and Shocks have both found kills, but Kriaz, a masterclass with the Deagle, it seems. My, oh my. You'll be watching that one back for a little while. That shot's hard to hit with an AK. Never mind a Deagle, and Plesson's not done either. Finest, they've invested minimal amounts into this round. It was only the hero AK for Plesson, and all of a sudden a 2-on-4. Manx and Fasher, the duo that were there in the last, have to do it again in the here and now. Round 12, and it's the worst possible start here for ECSTATIC.
The rotation has to be made now as well. Fasher has to commit and play alongside Manxie. He can't afford to leave him isolated, which so far he is. He makes his way forward in towards pillar, spotted Al Plesson. Good for yet another. It's all down to one man. Fasher, we've highlighted his name, does deliver a dink, so still, definitely a bit of a lifeline here, but a 1 versus 4 is asking a lot for the young Dutch rifler to deliver on towards something. He's being tagged at range. Twist down to 10. And this is now doable. 3 of the 4 players, 1 bullet away from death. And good for 1. Looking to make it yet another. Spotting the player in low. We've got the fight. It's a question. Good for 1 more, but a 3-2-1 swing. It's Anaka's scout at range to just about deliver a 7th, but that was touch and go.
And now Finest back to their winning ways, right? They've got themselves a win on a pretty fortunate scenario. The half buy of all things considered. And well, now, Neo, this becomes a little more problematic for ECSTATIC because their money's starting to dwindle.
I mean, as we stand, we speak about that glass floor analogy, right? Where there's kind of nothing in terms of stability left. And that's what you can probably say over towards ECSTATIC. That economy in the long term not looking great, which could potentially be their last buy of the round if they're unable to deliver here. Bird from Sky, the IGL going aggressive and paying the price for exactly that.
That easy 5-on-4 picked up. You can start to see the panic settling in for the ECSTATIC side. As Bird from Sky gone early on. That 5-on-4 just going to work wonders in the way of Finest. You can see there's no change to the game plan. It's low, slow, methodical. And that's what they're looking to perform with. Peeking. Dafu. He's found the trade-off at least. So while it is a bit delayed, Kriaz finally eliminated from Monster.
For sure. It was a necessary kill, wasn't it? Because not only does it find the numbers level, but it gets a lot of information. Twitch going to push in front of the smoke. Might pay the price for it, but just about delivers on the trigger. to Manx as he falls, and once again that man advantage collected by Finest.
Well, 45 seconds left. Once again, we leave it to the latter part of this round for Finest to make a play as they group towards long and short. There are a couple of questions maybe that this T-side has. Is it going to be towards B or is it back towards A? And while they do opt for the latter of the two now, I'm pretty worried here because they've got no information. There's so many angles to clear, and with 25 seconds left, they're really going to need to get a move on, and well, maybe just the urgency starting to settle in here. Shocks to launch the molly, Pleasant to throw the nose flash in. It's all over the left-hand side, but from the right is Dafu. He's found one. Fasher a second. 14 seconds left. The bomb's dropped in the open. There's a molly planted right on it, and well, that's it. Done and dusted. Finest to concede a sixth. And it's again trying to make the heroic play in the last few seconds, just not working out for the T side.
And if you ever wanted a prime example of why you shouldn't leave things to the last 20 seconds, especially when you're completely in the middle of the map, there it is. Bingo. You hit the nail on the head. It was so poorly executed in the final part of that round because Finest had no time to clear any angles. They more or less had to commit to running knife out towards the site and stick in the plant. No ifs, buts, or maybes. And with 3 players ready and waiting for that exact maneuver, there was no way they were going to get that bomb down. I mean, Finest, that's not how you play in the last 20 seconds, and they should make those decisions earlier. But ECSTATIC, credit to them, they knew exactly what was coming.
Well, spam coming out. Kriaz takes a severe amount of damage early on, something that Finest can't really afford to do so. Their money's starting to fade away as well as ECSTATIC's only just beginning, looking to monopolize their empire heading into round 14. With that single setup on Zello, we know he can absolutely pack a punch. But a man that has delivered time and time again is Fasher. His 13th kill here on the CT side as he finds Pleasant looking for a second. Shocks to deny into a 4-on-4. At least kept at bay for now, the numbers, but Finest still in that struggle because of the guns and the utility behind it as well.
Yeah, and you know, you look towards kind of Kriaz and Shock specifically. For them, they have to just be that little bit more careful, right? I mean, they can't overextend too much. They can't go for kind of those individual brilliant plays because they can't afford to do so. 36 HP, 67 HP is not exactly where they want to be. And especially with Twist dropping out of the fray, that leaves only Anarchist with full HP. Now things are becoming very dicey. Man advantage and health advantage for ECSTATIC now.
Well, 30 seconds left. The last few moments of the round are going to be towards B. Finest can't afford to make the mistake of looking elsewhere. They can't afford to run back towards A, it feels like. But so many players dug out in niche angles here for ECSTATIC. It's going to be very hard for Finest to clear. And with 15 seconds to go, they are going to make the committal towards B. Shock's going to walk right into Splinter. That's where Manx is hiding. With 8 seconds left, the last 2 players more than happy to call it a day. And Arquez playing very much the James scenario here on Overpass. Only 4 deaths here on the T side. But the all brought forward to the last of the half. It's 7-all. ECSTATIC making up maybe for the slow start they had here on the CT side.
And rightfully so, but I go back to what I said earlier. I don't think 7's even that bad, but it hasn't been. Yeah, I think the main thing realistically for me is that, yes, 7 rounds to Finest on the T side, that's really actually not that bad. That's actually a pretty decent Overpass T side. But there's the other side of the sword where the momentum's definitely not in their favor, and more importantly, the confidence, right? The morale's probably at a bit of an all-time low for the series so far. So that's the most important thing for me, where I think it could become slightly problematic. But we'll have to wait and see to the final round of the half, 7-7. Who takes the lead going into a second half? That's the big question.
Absolutely. Well, minute and 25 on the clock. Shots finding the opener. Wallbang attempted, and well, why not? He's found a second. Finest starting to pick up pace here. Yet to fade away out of this half completely. That 5-on-3 established. Only 1 player taking damage as well. This is prime position for ECSTATIC to lose on an 8. This Finest, they're going to move back towards A.
Numbers in their favor. And of course, the map control too, making their way back over towards the A side. And this time, with a minute to work with. That's much better from the Finest. Making the decision early doors and committing to it. In comes a flood, a flurry of utility. Fashes deep in towards long and not even making the rotation as of yet. And does need to be careful. The rapidly made in towards front bathrooms. But the AWP of Anarchist is waiting for it.
Smoke dropped in. And well, a 3-on-5 scenario. It is pretty impossible here for ECSTATIC. Manx patiently waiting. Flash over the top. Zello good for the first. The second kill comes in, but Twist He's able to remove a third of the players, and well, as time ticks away, doesn't look like there's much of a chance. And well, Fasher, he's going to find another. A 1-on-2. ECSTATIC have fought their way back into this round, and no way do they get this under their belts. ECSTATIC will take 8. Finest stay at 7. And I mean, Shocks, what a great two-piece, but it just isn't enough to get them the round. It's 8-7. ECSTATIC, they are leading into the second half here, Neo.
Yeah, and a questionable decision from Pleasant there. Molotov dropped in towards Bank, and he runs through it with Eagle. Where was the need? He knew he wasn't being overextended on towards the site, runs forward, Alt finds a kill. And then when it's 2 versus 2, ECSTATIC can play their game. They know they've got the health in their favor. It's not the finest of ends for Finest to that half, but I gotta say, at the very least, 7 rounds on the T-side, as we previously mentioned, isn't actually that bad. I think it's actually a pretty decent T-side performance from them. But a pistol round for me is a bit of a necessity because they're lacking in momentum right now. And I think if ECSTATIC find a pistol and go kind of a couple rounds ahead, get a force buy in their favor and keep kind of the gears ticking, that's where I think Finest are really going to struggle in the latter part of this map.
Yeah, it's been a pretty difficult time for them, right? I think it's safe to say. To only go 8-7 at the half has been, I don't know, man. For both sides, I think improvements are to be made. I feel like Finest could have done a lot better in the middle part of the half for ECSTATIC to pick up pace. And ECSTATIC themselves, they should have never dropped the ball that much to begin with, right? They should have never put themselves in a situation where they were losing out on so much. And so as we head into the second half, I feel like for both teams, there is that excuse, that trade-off where actually both teams could really do with winning this, right? Both teams could really deal with just taking this pistol, moving forward, claiming the lead, and moving forward from there. So as we head into the second half, my eyes are very much peeled, probably I would say, on the Fasher effect. 13-11 heading into the last round of the half. 15-10 Shocks was after the 2K that he got through the wall bang. And there's been some star performers. We said it may have been an Arquez. He's going 10-4 right now. Seems to be the Shocks and Pleasant's show, with Pleasant actually topping the ADR sheets as well. It seems to be Finest playing much more of a team game, but Fasher's had a half ban, and there's no stopping this man, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Fasher, we knew he's going to be ridiculous, and he provided exactly that. And I don't like to highlight bad performances, because I don't think it tells the entire story when you look at the kills itself. But Dafu, I'm surprised to see the kind of lack of impact from him, because he's normally someone, for me, that whenever I watch ECSTATIC, he is a difference maker. That's what I like to put him. He doesn't top the scoreline too often. He doesn't kind of top the ADR, but the impact he brings to each and every round, each and every half, map, etc., is what makes Dafu such a valuable asset. And we haven't seen too much of that. I think he went for a bit of a tough, slow start, and he found a bit of form towards the end of half number 1, but I want to see Dafu step up into his own role. I mean, he's one of those guys, kind of the secondary rifler, the support player who allows those big names like Fasher to find all the space that they do. And so far, it's just been a little bit of a slow one from him. But we'll have to wait and see as we get things started. Round number 16, it's 8-7 lead for ECSTATIC. How to Finest respond on their CT side.
Yeah, it's always going to be a difficult one. ECSTATIC on the T side, up by 1. They've got the long slog now on the worst side, statistically. The Finest, their map pick, their home turf, their better side as well. It is an uphill battle here. But no saying no to some ECSTATIC magic. Something we are very in tune with throughout the last year or so, Neo. You talked about it, probably one of the best teams in Tier 2 that we had at one point, matching the same firepower as maybe Heat or a 1 win at the time. Obviously, both teams making the grand finals of the ESL Challenger League Season 40. And I would say ECSTATIC looking to be 3rd on that list, or maybe even higher heading into this one. This year could be their time, but it has to start in this round. The flash in towards the A site as they close the gap on the USPs. These Glocks and the P250 looking for the damage, but it's Pleasant to kill Zello back and forth with the CT players, I should say. But Shocks runs right through the smoke. He's able to find some ground. Fasher to trade, still trying to find shots with the Glock. It's all kicked off here, but a 2-on-2 and a moment of lull for Bird from Sky to set the bomb down.
Yeah, just quiet starting in the server for a second. Bomb going down, but unaware of the flank. Krias, bit of a laboured tap. Ooh, deliver on a kill to onto Fasher. Low on HP, and from behind, Krias makes it a second. Unable to kind of thread the needle between the two that are Fasher. And he'll fall. And that's the start that we asked from Finest. Find a pistol round and relive that momentum that gave them a 6-1 start in towards map number 1. And they're looking to replicate in exactly the same fashion. And this is where we kind of start to kind of relive that first half and saying that actually 7 rounds really wasn't that bad, because already they've tied up this game.
Yeah, and the power starts to come in for the CT side, because when you're second
sure.
best on the T side, this is where you can really start to escape. You know, you've got the M4s, this is an auto shotgun on shots, which is an unconventional buy, but one that I can respect a little bit. MP9, SAMASs, there's everything going on right now for Finest. However, ECSTATIC, T side, we know that they can bring out some serious stuff. Unfortunately for Manx, it's short-lived. Fasher will trade out towards Long, a double face in, but only the one will take face in the end. M4 realizing its value and moving away. Pleasant does not want to get his hands dirty out on A.
Double flash over towards Long. I'm going to try and get that control once again, and they get an upgrade of a rifle as a cherry on top. Fasher will drop it across. What a kind gentleman he is. He's just trying to keep the weapons out of the hands of Finest, and I don't really blame him too much. An auto shotgun in the hands of Shocks, though, Retro. We don't often see that too much.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe on, like,
I'm a fan, I gotta say.
Ancient, it's kind of manageable, just the amount of close up, you know, upside
Yeah, into his
angles.
cave or donut.
Yeah, and I think as well, maybe on a couple of other maps, unconventional to use it towards B. Monster, I can kind of understand. It is a choke point. Problem is, there's so much space between you and if they're to swing the back wall that the auto shotgun will not be that one-shot headshot potential. We might be silenced, though. They are heading out towards B. Auto shotgun faces in, and, well, it hasn't managed to bring the results that Shocks was quite looking for. Dafu finds the opener, and while Twist is able to stand his ground, the rotate of Plessen is going to be the VIP for this one. Zello's trade, a 2-on-2, two Galils to work with. One of them eliminated from the round, though, and Arcus has done wonders, and a double dink from Plessen, and a body shot through the wall shall suffice. It's Finest to a 9th. They're starting to get that control on the CT side. Something ECSTATIC definitely would be worried about heading into this half.
Yeah, I think worry is one thing that's going to be kind of ringing through the minds of ECSTATIC right now. But a really nice retake. I mean, Anarchist from above, comfortable to find himself one. But it's that Plessy triple that made the difference. A really nice round from him. We questioned the buy, but it worked. Fair play. So no complaints over here. 9-8, a one-round lead once again for Finest. The first time we've seen them have a lead and kind of comfortably have that lead for a little bit of time. And now we look over towards the T side, and yeah, they can buy in towards round number 18, but it isn't the most comfortable buy. We got a double AK situation, double Glil, one Deagle in the hands of Bird from the sky. It's uncomfortable.
Yes, it's not ideal whatsoever here that Finest are in such a better position than ECSTATIC, right? And we're starting to see, as I said, that snowball effect from the pistol starting to concur. ECSTATIC stuck at 8. Can't really find their footing, and we do have to give them the floor at least, that they can't quite match the full buy potential that Finest have currently got. But there is an absolute chance that Finest, they can find themselves a 10th, and then obviously it's an eco for ECSTATIC. That's 11, and what are the chances that you can make that scoreline a recoverable one? And, well, for this round, Shocks are 1-for-1 towards Monster, 1+ on the previous round, and so as they head into the B site, it is a quite vacant one, a 4-on-4 scenario. ECSTATIC, a real chance now as they set the bomb down as well.
Unbalanced post one trying to be set off, but in transition, Korea's causing a couple of problems. Dafu down to, well, nothing as the quick trade comes in from Bird from Sky. I mentioned the questionable buy, but now he's got a little to work with. So not the end of the world, but in comes the AWP of Anarchist, looking for just a pixel to work with as Twist in for the flank, drops the eyes yell and takes the numbers back in their favor. And Pleasant all too aware that one could be lurking in close and personal, and he delivers. It's down to just one. Zello left alive, and Anarchist makes quick work of that. That he refused to come through. It's going to be close, but they'll get it nonetheless. And they're going to be the first side to hit double digits.
Well, that is a lot closer than I'd like, but they do get it done anyway. Finest up to 10, but something to go with that is the theme of the buys for ECSTATIC have been conditional based off of the bomb plant, right? The previous round they got a bomb plant, in this one they got a bomb plant. They are going to probably take a force buy here as well. As you can see, they've gone right for it. They are coming straight for the throat of Finest. They got 2 kills, they got a bomb plant, and they have every opportunity to take the next round. They're doubling down on the previous actions, and should they lose out on this one as well, I feel like this game may just have a bit too much of a gap to come back from. But for Finest, of course, maybe they don't know that they're not out of the headlights just yet. There's 4 AKs and a Galil to face off in round 19, and they're probably expecting pistols.
They're expecting it, but they won't be met with it. We see the AKs in display, and what they've done is kind of gone for the AKs, but at the same time, hindered the utility. And that's where things do become problematic. On a T side of Overpass, which requires such a necessity of utility to 1-for-1 trade over towards that B site. Looking to buy more and Fasher flying down and towards water delivers.
Very nicely done. Fasher finding that kill is the all-important one. And look at these advanced positions that ECSTATIC are taking. It's Zello in particular that's so advanced in towards hell. A smoke towards heaven. Finest, they're backing away. They don't want anything to do with this. And so the gamble for ECSTATIC pays off. They will be getting 9. They will be closing that gap. And they're putting the CTs in a pretty unfamiliar situation because money, I would say, is still a bit of a factor right now for Finest. And they could just be in a scenario where all of these players aren't equipped with rifles heading into number 20. This is quite concerning.
Sure.
ECSTATIC, a great job.
When we talk about high risk, high reward, and this buy was exactly that. It was so risky, but the execution was brilliant. I mean, that take on towards B, aggressive. They just didn't allow the CT side to set up in any regards. And of course, because of that, all it took was a couple of flashes. I question the lack of utility, but they made that ever so small amount that they had to use work oh so efficiently. And of course, they brought it once again back to within 1. But for Finest, still plenty of economy for them to work with. The hit will be back in action. A double AK saved is more than fruitful over on that CT side.
And at this point in time, if you're only just tuning in, or if you want to understand the pressure for these players, the loser of this best of 3 is out of ESL Challenger League and they're back into the relegation stages. So it's going to be very difficult for either side to lose this best of 3 and find themselves a spot in Season 42. That's just how the cookie crumbles here. And for Finest, well, they've got a real good chance of taking map 1. Admittedly, their pick, but it'd be a great way to start their BO3 and their campaign to stay at least for another day here in the ESL Challenger League. Of course, a best of 3, so we're not done just yet. This is only map 1, but there is every chance that either party can be taking this first pick. ECSTATIC at 9, arguably a better situation than that of Finest because their money, the back pocket, it's a little deeper than that of the CT side. So as we head into the final minute of round 20, the if buts or maybe start to be a bit more of a concern here for ECSTATIC.
Smoke drops into his front bathroom, a slower tempo and an airburst Molotov is not exactly what the CT side wanted, but it doesn't matter. Krios good for 1. Plessin flashing towards short. Gun barrel spotted and a laboured spray just about delivering on a second kill for the CT side. And Shocked enclosure Perso should be able to deny the presence, but only good for the first.
And Manx even finding a bit of damage as well, so this could be looking pretty promising. Twist, Plessin, Kriaz, all low HP, and these rifles definitely could do some damage, but it's all on Zello. It's all on the 1-on-4, and a great tap to find the first. There's still 3 more hungry CTs pushing at him, though, and his position very limited, very constrained. Tapping away, finds a second. Zello, 2 more to go. Launching the flashbang high. Both CTs know his location. And he is left in isolation. Smoke on top of the bomb. Both players high HP as well. Zello a 3rd. No way is this a 1-on-4. No way is this another round that ECSTATIC win. As Zello reanimates himself. The temporary man might have just earned himself a permanent spot here in ESL Challenger League. Because a big 1-on-4 keeps the dreams of the Danes alive. ECSTATIC 10. Finest 10.
What a round. We speak about the isolation of fights and finding those preferential positions, and oh, that's a prime example. Zello can reward himself with an AWP, and the reward is duly earned because that was stunning. First 2 kills, low on HP, but, you know, still impressive to tap at range. But there's those second 2. That's what makes a difference. And I think the most important thing about that entire round, it wasn't just the 1 versus 4. It wasn't just the fact that it's tied the game up. But for Finest, their morale is going to be in the mud because that's a round they know they never should have lost. And that's the one that really tilts you. So for that CT side, mentally resetting from that is going to be a tough one to come by. And it's not going to help that coming into round number 21, they've got just pistols to work with.
I don't believe what we've just witnessed, mate. That is a game changer. That is a series mover. A 1-on-4 from Zello. Gives every opportunity now for ECSTATIC to run away with this map. We talked about that this pick wasn't great for either side. Finest more trying to punish ECSTATIC than play to their own strengths. Both teams with less than a 50% win rate on this map. To be precise, it's a maximum of 33. ECSTATIC have won 2 out of 10 on Overpass, and their most recent stint hasn't been a great one, but they might just be able to find themselves a way back into this one. And it would be a monumental map to be winning. Finest pick starting to turn sour as we head into round 21. And well, for Finest, as you said, Neo, yourself, it is just pistols. It is just these secondary weapons brought forward. With 57 seconds left of this round and that 5-on-4 established, ECSTATIC, the gun advantage, the utility advantage, they've got every advantage in the book from the here on out. And while Kriaz is able to pick up one, a nice trade from an Arquez as the bomb dropped as well. It's a 3-on-3 and they still manage to keep the numbers. It's a dangerous one, but it's a doable one here for ECSTATIC to take 11.
Of course now. Slower tempo once again. This time ECSTATIC with 30 seconds on the clock need to be ever so cautious not to leave things a little bit too little too late. Anakin's in towards back dice. P250 in hand, and it may not be the best weapon, but it can still deal some serious damage as he hears all the information he needs to.
Well, Max, he's able to find one. 13 seconds left. They do leave it till late, but they do find themselves the plant. More importantly, the round, as it's a Shox 1-on-3. And while the AWP is low, everyone else more than happy to get out of harm's way. And get out of dodge, more importantly. Give Finest no chance to take 11. And I mean, still that 1-on-4 from the previous haunts me, man. And it definitely will haunt Finest, right? You lose all your momentum because of it. It puts you back onto an eco, back down to square one. Just isn't a situation that you want to be in. And so as this bomb continues to tick away, Finest, they're only hearing the ticking. Meaning, next round, a pretty important one. It was just pistols in this one. It's a full buy in the next. It could be 12-10 if they lose, and an eco afterwards could be the end.
This is a really uncomfortable situation for Finest to be in. Of course, yes, coming in towards round of 22, we're going to see a buy for them. But as you mentioned, you lose this, and ECSTATIC start to push dangerously close towards the all-elusive 16 on their opponent's map pick. And this is where we were kind of saying earlier about how this is one of those series that can go 2-0 just because the veto is maps that both sides aren't really too comfortable on.
Yeah, it really is like a crazy one, eh? Both teams, as you said, feel like they're going for the punishing thing more than anything. And both sides playing so damn well. It's a tough matchup for both teams. And well, smoke's coming out, utility being dropped. Everyone, hush, taking their time. No man advantage, little HP leads, and no real trail for ECSTATIC to follow. They are the round up though, so they can afford to take their time.
Yeah, Further Sky makes his way in towards that of calmly paying the price for exactly that. Anakin's finding the kill, bomb drop, that's information gained. Unnecessary information at that, because they can just take a step away. As I say, swing coming forward from Dafu. I question the slow performance from him, and he's finally started to find a little bit of comfortability into the second half. A kill going his way. On the question, what can they find? Twist, elevated, delivering once further, and Fash is an important kill to find to take the numbers, and Pleasant will double it down.
This is really promising. A 4-on-2 scenario. Listen, we saw something amazing from Zello in the previous, a 1-on-4. In this round, it does feel all but done, and Arquez holding the wide angle. Manx moving forward. He needs to bait the AWP shot, but he'll walk right into it instead. A 1-on-4 for Dafu. Well, we saw it in a couple of rounds ago. I don't think it's going to be looking all too good in this one. 18 seconds left as well to set that bomb down, to give themselves hope. And I don't think this one is just looking likely enough. Shox waiting for the walk up. Dafu back turned, and well, that's it. Finest tie the game. 11-all. It comes down to the wire here at Overpass.
This one is posturing. Like, potentially we could see an overtime on the cards here for map number 1. And I think it's a very, very important map. You speak about win factors, right? I mean, it's one of those things where for Finest, if they lose this, ECSTATIC then get a really big boost in terms of finding a 2-0. But the same can be said vice versa. You know, Finest make a statement here, close one out comfortably, and they go in towards map number 2 with kind of an air of confidence about them, which potentially could be enough on a map which, as we mentioned, ECSTATIC aren't too comfortable on. So there's definitely room to work with here.
Right, and map 2, ECSTATIC's pick of Ancient, is a map that we saw going ECSTATIC's way no matter what. So Finest desperately needing this map, and a very nice reactionary play from Kriaz. Waits for the door to be blown open, finds the opening frag, no problems whatsoever. 5-on-4 established here for the CT side.
And if I'm right in saying as well, first time we've seen the double orb setup coming out for the CT side of Finest in the second half. So I'm liking so far how they're playing it. It's kind of, you know, for Anakin and Kriaz, they can just play so fluid, and that's where the fluidity starts to find the success, because Bird from Sky caught in no man's land, and an easy second for Kriaz. That secondary orb delivering oh so well for such an expensive investment.
Absolutely. Flash coming in, dropped out. Fasher, he'll find the opener. second kill for Fasher, nearly a third for him as well, but ECSTATIC run right through them. And so although the finest 5-on-4 established, it is not maintained well until Big and Arquez with a big green. Zello gone, and it's a Manx 1-on-2. And he's dropped in towards water, an advanced position. Don't know what that noise was. I mean, he didn't make the drop, and that might have just given up everything. I'm not too sure if that was a bug on our end or if actually there was a bit of a miscommunication. He is there anyway, and by the looks of things, Plesson didn't understand the task, didn't understand the job because Max has got them both covered. It's another clutch, another chance, and another one taken for ECSTATIC. 12-11, and Finest, they slip back once more.
Manx is his very best Zelda impression, and that's a stunner. Another clutch where it looked like the number was up. It looked like it was a round chalked in favor of Finest, and what a way for ECSTATIC to come up clutch and to find another round which potentially shouldn't have even been considered in their favor. Stunning stuff. Isolates the fights brilliantly. The AWP left all alone in the 1v1. Swings in front of the smoke. I mean, it's just stunning. What a way to play it. And now a pause coming through, and I think a necessary one. You look over towards the CT side. If a Finest, it isn't looking too pretty. I mean, it isn't really comfortable over towards ECSTATIC with a double Mac 10 in play, but much better than what we see over towards the CT side, which is just upgraded pistols.
Yeah, and it becomes more and more of a problem, I feel like, for the Finest side. This back and forth, the volatile investments made by the CT side is only harming them in the long run, right? And although you have to take an eco here, this gives ECSTATIC a real chance to make it 13, and then you're so dependent on the buy in the next round that these problems start to occur. And while this utility pours in, you can see Finest don't have a clue what's just hit them. It's out towards B, it's a fast play, it's a clean one, although there's a fair few players taking damage. Neo, it's the end of the round, mate. 5-on-2, chalked up, ECSTATIC up to 13. How many times have you seen this position go the way of Finest? In recent times at least, momentum has been their struggle, and I'm wondering, is it going to be their downfall here as well?
Yeah, and that's the thing for Finest, right? They're such a momentum-heavy side that when they do lose the momentum, they really, really struggle to get it back. And that's what we're seeing, exactly the same as what we saw in towards half number one. I mean, they started half number one, this map, with a 6-1 lead, right? Everything was looking so good for the Finest side, for them to chalk up a dominant first half. They lost the round. Then, after that, lost the economy, and it just started to crumble from beneath them. And it's a prime example of that glass floor analogy, because it's such a brutal cycle when you're stuck in it of full buy-in, lose the round, back into a double eco, rinse and repeat. And Finest are feeling all the effects of that cycle now as, yes, okay, full buys to come through, but a similar one. If they lose this round, they lose the map, essentially, because Finest are going to struggle to pick up another buy.
Yes. And as you said, the conditioning continues here. There is a pause coming in for the Finest camp. And a very important one at that. 30 seconds to talk over what on earth they're going to do in the forthcoming rounds and what we're going to be watching heading into round 25. It is crunch time. It's a nail biter for Finest. One buy round away, basically, from losing the entire thing. And should they win this round, they can really tie the game up. The T-side money looking a little better off, so they will be able to take a second buy and a second stab at maintaining that lead. But if ECSTATIC miss both times, Finest will have a chance back into this one, and we all know these positions can get pretty distasteful pretty quickly.
Of course.
So round 25, a chance for both, but Finest desperately need it to stay alive on Overpass.
I mean, the way in which how round for round it's been so far, you really can't count out Finest thus far. A little bad nades kickstart things as well. Just a little bit of chip damage over towards Manx, dropped to 79, and a much slower posturing from ECSTATIC here. And I like the way they're trying to play this. They don't need to do anything aggressive. In the previous round, it was good because they knew they had the better firepower. Now, don't be too overconfident. Just take a step back and try and see what they can find.
Here, the util being poured out. ECSTATIC, of course, having much a wider range than that of Finest, because they themselves, as you can see, invested every dollar they had into round 25. And while the minute mark strikes, ECSTATIC more than happy to play a slow game, keep the numbers and keep Finest guessing.
I'm guessing is exactly what we're seeing so far. I mean, it's a slow tempo. ECSTATIC doing exactly what we questioned Finest doing in that previous round of leaving things a little late. With 45 seconds on the clock, it's now a committal play, and Shock's good for the first. Nice. All he has to do, hold down the fort. No utility. Peeking dry in towards Monster. Always only going to go one way.
And well, here we go. An Arquez on the site. Orp finds one and a second kill from an Arquez. Zello, the last man standing. Another 1-on-4 required. And there is light at the end of the tunnel here for the Swedish core. As ECSTATIC cannot claw back a 14th round. Cannot scramble together an attempt at the 14th. And with the timer ticking away, Zello one choice but to save, and he might just be backing into the M4. Pleasant does find the reactionary, but his position compromised. CT's too far away, and so he will get away with saving the big green, but it does come at a cost. No money exchanged at the end of this round, and Finest one step closer to tying the game.
It's as you mentioned, I mean, what we can see for ECSTATIC is another buy coming through, but both of these two sides, because this round-for-round affair is such a burden, right, on that long-term economy, we can never find any stability. Both sides are feeling the effects of that pressure. And then you've got the other pressure, as we have to mention again, this is the Group B elimination match. Whoever loses this is out. So for Finest, this is their map pick, one in which they desperately need to win, and well, for ECSTATIC, going into their map pick at a slightly lower morale is not exactly what they want, and not the best of starts either, as that is a huge nade.
Wonderful. Again, it's chip damage being found by the Finest side. We saw how good they were on the T side as well. Pleasant heroics needed, and while he's good for one, somehow backing away. The smoke might just be his demise, though. Didn't have his gun out, and Fasher to close the gap and close him out. Kriaz will find space towards Connector. And a 4-on-3 found, and Arquez trying to get the boost. Has to come from the side angle. Will have the peek over the top. Twist holding in on short as well. And Orp shot rattles off, but nothing connects. And Finest, well, they're just going to have to settle for the man advantage. Or are they?
Yeah, double it down. Yeah, well, 4 versus 2 now. And with Zello and Flash taking damage as well. A smoke allows Kriaz to cross back over towards Con. I think this one might be tied up in a matter of seconds.
Oh, and a nice shot from Twist. Last man standing of Fasher, and the flank of Kriaz will reward him with a hat-trick. 13-13. And we talked about the money being bad after that secondary buy for ECSTATIC. There is no tertiary investment. It's eco, it's pistols, and it is looking like Finest might just find themselves back on winning ways. 14-13 is looking like the scoreline it shall be, unless the full eco, the 5 Glocks, can whip up something tremendous. It's not looking likely heading into round 27, and so for Finest, a real chance to make this map work.
Well, as we stand, 13-13. I mentioned it earlier, Retro, that we were kind of posturing in the direction of an overtime, and I feel like we actually might. I mean, these two sides, they're inseparable, and this is why they're in this exact position. It's a very, very good matchup of kind of one side who was previously at the heights of Tier 2, and another side who is trying to reach there and doing a good job at it.
Well, with the seconds pouring down the drain, ECSTATIC, I guess, their attempt in this round is quite literally to just make the CT side waste utility, right? They know the money isn't going to be good, so if you can remove the mollies, the smokes, you know, that's $1,000 a person that you're not going to be getting at the end of this round. They will feed it right back to the hands of Pleasant, though, and Arquez going to get his hands dirty and grubby, and, well, full to the brim with kills. It's 3 for an Arquez, 2 for Pleasant. The full house between them gives Finest the lead in quite some time. 14-13, round 28, the do or die for the T side.
Do or die, I think, is one way to put it. I mean, in that sort of round, the priority you're looking for is a bomb plan, isn't it? Maybe a couple of kills just to put the CT economy in a little bit of pressure, but none of that was found. And as we stand for ECSTATIC, this could be one of their last buys. Failing to convert this round, they give them a 15th over towards Finest, and then have a terrible economy not to work with. I mean, it's a 90 spot, and not a great start either. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but from Gus Sky stepping up. But Dafu's slow start is continuing as he has really struggled on Overpass.
Well, that is a big advantage, but quickly slipped away. Kriaz finding another bird from Sky, thinking about the push, and he will, in fact, find it. I was shocked as ever that Kriaz wasn't holding the left side of the smoke, and he's punished for his actions. A 3-on-3, 2 AKs, 1 AWP, and for the CT side, it's very similar. It's just the M4s in exchange.
Back over towards where they can go. Making their way for free in towards mid. They do need to be careful of Anarch's backside, and he is just going to invite all this pressure in. We know he thrives under it as well. As they say, diamonds are made under pressure, and he's the perfect example of a shining one. Currently sitting 21-9. 50 seconds to work with. And he's actually going to go a little bit aggressive in towards Bathroom, trying to spot a bit of information. If they make that cross, he will be good for one himself, but needs to be careful about long.
Well, here we go. Pressure out towards the A site. Flashes dropped on in at the masses. Zello waiting for his teammates to get forward. They have got the A site. It's actually barren. The CT side not going to be doing much. And Narquez holding the angle is good for the single. And a 2-on-3 scenario. It is entirely doable here. ECSTATIC not exactly got the numbers game, but they do have the pressure of the C4. Molly pulling Fasher into the open. They know he's taking a bit of tick damage. A flash towards long as well, forcing the AWP off the angle, and he turns to look behind, but he's going to readjust. And Narquez out of the round. A second shot from Zello, and it's made Fasher into a doable one-on-one to make it 14-14. And he slips into the smoke, ice in his veins, going to hear the drop in front, and he's going to wait for the swinger twist. And that is pitch perfection for ECSTATIC. 14-14, and the dream is alive here for the Danish side. It's Zello's AWP to find a double, but it's Fasher with the most important last. Finest 14. ECSTATIC 14.
Fasher, nerves of steel, taps the bomb and doesn't make any committal spray. I know if that was me, I'd be spraying and praying, hoping to find something, but Fasher, to perfection, finds his 26th kill and finds a 14th on the board. We're going the full distance, Ryan. Of regulation, it's now a question of who's going to take it, or do we make those steps in towards overtime? These two sides inseparable. And same can be said for their economies. As we've mentioned before, both not in a stable state. And I do honestly feel like this could be the winning round. Find this one. Yeah. It puts the pressure on the other side where they will have a really uncomfortable middling buy coming through. I mean, this for me is probably the most important round. Maybe not only just this map, but this series.
Yeah. This is it. This is the one. You're dead right. Loser of this, their money's wiped out completely. And it is square one. So both teams desperate need of number 29 going their way. Well, the nade damage isn't good. The kill's definitely there. One kill for the one. There's another trade taken out towards long, but Fasher succeeds. It's his 28th kill, and a double out towards long might just seal the fate for ECSTATIC to pinch map one.
This could be it. Man advantage in their favor as well. And now for the CT side, they get spread thin. We look to the remaining three, and with Anarchas and the Pleasant out of the count, this is where, for me, the big alarm bells start to ring, because those individuals who really make a difference are no longer in play. And
well, time ticking down. Away, in fact. As the flashes are in, Twistable with one, only with one though, and now the man on site, Krias needs to do something, but it's not meant to be, and it's Shocks with the unconventional AWP to try and put ECSTATIC away from 15, and I don't think it's looking likely. He's on the other side of the map. Probably going to go for the save, and that's it. ECSTATIC to 15.
Well, now what we see, Shocks, 1 versus 3 to try and deny, and this is asking a lot of him, and he's made the very safe decision not to do anything. He's going to go as far away as possible, keep hold of that AWP, which will most likely be dropped over towards Anarchas, in towards what potentially could be the final round of map number 1, and ECSTATIC taking their opponent's map pick 16-14, because as things stand, at 15 collected and for finest, that economy is not looking good. Platinum's got $150 in the bank, Krias has got $250, and after this bomb goes off, they're not going to have too much more coming in towards this final round. It's what, going to be MP9's half armor or upgraded pistols, full armor and utility. A terrible position for them to be in.
Yes, it is looking horrific, as you said, for this CT side. I mean, sure, they've got the Orphan and Arquez, and he's had a lights-out game. He's 23-11, Pleasant 24-20. There's no denying these guys have had a really decent start. Problem is, it's how you end an ECSTATIC. 1 round away, either between overtime or taking and pinching and stealing away that map pick of finest 16-14. It's worrying times here. The CTs desperately need to clamber together to win round 30.
And what do they do, Ryan? I mean, it's not exactly where they want to be. A bit of CT aggression might work, though. Anarchis, hang on a second. He's got a sound cues at the very least, and there's the opening kill. Now, potentially this could be the upset we didn't expect.
This is a big opportunity, but look at Manx. He's taken the possession of finest, what they literally just had. And so short is all his. And Abyss, monster smoke by the looks of things. They're going to send it out towards B. Manx has got one. And a second kill from Manx. Nearly a triple, but Bird from Sky's trade. A scout from Heaven. Shocks. Oh, and a no-scope from range, but he's going to have to drop down, and it's into the jaws of the M4 of Dafu. And it's an Arquez 1-on-2 required to keep Finest alive, to keep Finest kicking on their map pick here on Overpass. And as the bomb is set down, he's got no kit to work with, so both kills have to come in the first 30 seconds. And as he creeps in, he's looking for the angles, not scoped in just yet. Zello with his back turned, it will be a freebie, and it's all down to one. Dafu, Molly out, tap the bomb, and an Arquez has got the second, and he's got plenty of time, even without a kit. Round 30 goes their way, and it's 15-15. We don't stop yet. Overtime on the cards.
A man possessed. I mean, Anarchas, we highlighted him coming in towards this series, and that is why we highlighted him. What a clutch. 1 versus 2, and that was pixel perfect. Everything in that clutch was to perfection. Not a thing wrong. Doesn't scope, doesn't give away a silent cue, clears all the angles, finds out of the first, Molotov in towards short. He knows they have to be coming from short because the pillar guy is holding for Monster. So he knows exactly where they're coming from, and he delivers. I mean, he did not falter the entire of that map, and now we go towards overtime. This is exciting. I mean, it's so hard to call. Both of these two sides, they're so equally matched.
And we talked about the opportunity that Finest would present themselves if they won round 29, or, you know, basically the loser of round 29 was going to have a serious problem. Yet, and Arquez, I mean, admittedly, the 1-on-2, sure, it was good, but somehow the no-scope from Zello from heaven towards water with a scout, I mean, that was a big play, because if you didn't find that kill there, and Arquez in a 1-on-3, do you really count him to be winning that round?
Precisely.
A difference maker made by every single person on the server for Finest in round 30, and that does put us in a position where Counter-Strike on Overpass does not end. We have another 6 rounds at a minimum coming up very, very shortly here as we head back into the action, hopefully very soon here, Neo. But overtime, man, I mean, if you talk about a pressure builder, the last 2 rounds weren't enough, then, you know, you've got to win 4 out of the next 6 to see yourselves through as the winner of Overpass. And if Finest can do it like that, what's not to say that they're just going to win in overtime here? That was ridiculous.
Exactly. I mean, when it mattered most, when the chips were down for Finest and was looking like, well, ECSTATIC going to take their map pick? No. Their leader steps up, the name that we highlighted coming in, and that is why we highlighted him, because not only does he deliver in terms of the kills, I mean, what was that? It's 26th frag, if I'm right in saying, but on top of that is the impact that Anarchus finds round in, round out, and a prime example once again. I mean, what a performance, and what a game we've been treated to kickstart map number 1, and this is just an insight in what we're going to see this series. We're in for one of the most exciting evenings of CSGO we've seen in a long time. And that's being said with the major on currently.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the major's pretty interesting, don't get me wrong. But we're at the challenger stage of the major, man. This is an elimination match, you know? Admittedly, there has been a couple of them on the majors today as well. So we'll skip past that, Neo. We can't make the comparison. But this is like the home of Tier 2, man. If you're a Tier 2 fan like us, then you'll find yourself in a pretty sweet place here. Because not only are we watching, I would argue, some of the better teams and the better names and the better brands that we have in the Tier 2 scene. Not only that, this is the elimination game. As we've said a million times before, and we will continue to say until the end of the matchup, that this is, in fact, do or die for both of these teams. Lose this, you're in relegation. That's it. You're out of ECL. You're not guaranteed a spot in Season 42. And so, yeah, it does get pretty interesting. Yeah.
Tough times. The pressure is definitely there, right? We've already mentioned that diamonds are made of the pressure, and Anarchus, I said he will shine bright, and he's done it once again. But now OT becomes interesting because you've got kind of 2 parallels. ECSTATIC, who should have closed out that map there and then, failed to do so, and now because of that, is the morale going to be affected? Can they mentally reset in time to start to find that stability once again? I mean, a lot of questions that start being asked. And then you got the completely opposite side where for Finest, now the momentum's in their shift. They've got kind of the morale there and the confidence as well. I mean, if Anarchus plays even kind of a slither of the way he played just in that final round alone, we're going to be in for an interesting overtime. But it's all to play for now. We mentioned the elimination game, the pressure's there, but you can definitely see that the confidence has started to show. I mean, these 2 sides, they're inseparable in terms of the rounds themselves. And as we stand, an interesting one going in towards OT, which we hopefully will be starting in just a moment or 2. I think obviously the players can kind of get a little bit of a break, get a bit of a breather after what was a nail-biting 30 rounds of CSGO. And, well, map number 1, not done just yet. But you've got to remember, Retro, this is Finest map pick. They have to win this.
Yes, and as we head into the action once more, back into Overpass and into overtime we head. As he said, very much the win required here for Finest if they want to see themselves through to a third map. It's Ancient Map to ECSTATIC's home turf, their pick. Yes, they do start on the T side, and obviously we don't exactly favour that to be the better side, but we know what they're like on the CT side. So hopefully as we head back into the action here, Finest can come out on map 1 and give us a very juicy best of 3. Overpass we head once more, 15 all. Of course, it's the money that looks all too good here for the CT side. If I'm not mistaken, it's 16k OT, Neo. We're in a good place for Finest right now, where Orbs galore. It's Kriaz and Arquez both to bring one out here for the CT side.
As we stand, so far, so good. I mean, we already highlighted previously about that double setup for the CT side of Finest being very successful, and I think it's a really good decision. When they've got economy to work with, try and use it. However, not the greatest of starts, swinging in towards that divider. Dafu finally finding a bit of success. He's delivered on 1 kill himself, and it's all down to this man, who we already mentioned as a highlight. Good for one, looking to make it a second as well in towards Dice. Dancing and weaving around this back guy's position and smoking towards the right-hand side, and will burn this guy expecting a question. Anakin's missed shot, and then he gets punished. Second time of Oskin comes alive.
That's a beautiful double. How has an Arquez stayed alive? But it's not the B side. They're heading towards, they're right towards, or rather it is towards B they're heading towards, not towards A, but Twister's got a double anyway, and it doesn't even matter. I don't know what's going on in this round. It's back and forth. ECSTATIC try at both sides. Neither work, and Finest have 16.
Anakin's finding his third with the Molotov as well. What a round from him. He is feeling it. The confidence in his veins. I mean, honestly, he's a pleasure to watch, isn't he? I mean, when Anakin gets the gears going, he's unstoppable. With that AWP in hand, there's no better player in the server that you'd want with the big green. I mean, he is stunning. And this is where we draw those comparisons to Zello and, of course, to previously Wolfie, right? Is that the difference maker so far, where they have that primary AWPer who's integrated into the system, where for Zello, you know, it's still kind of just trying to find his feet. What about start for Fasher, though?
Well, there you have it. 5-on-4. Man advantage for ECSTATIC. Back to their winning ways, it seems. And well, all the util pouring out. Beautiful 5-on-4 and doubled down upon the attempt at least. Bird from Sky out of the round. 4-on-4 now turned. Kriaz, that secondary AWPer, starting to come alive as he finds a second frag.
It's lightning quick, that shot, isn't it? I mean, it's brilliant from Kriaz to find that. And now, well, numbers have swapped hands. For Finest, they can play oh so passive. With just under a minute left on the clock, they're making the commit over towards that of B. It's 4-1 in the hands of Manx. A Shocks or 4. There's still 2 players left to find.
That's beautifully done. Manx another. Kriaz. His AWP on the back of the site is going crazy. It's a 4th kill in the round. On for the ace. And it's a double AWP setup, but it's only 1 to reign them all. As Zello, even he has a big green in his hands. It's going to be an awkward fight no matter where he looks. If he drops down, it might just be Goomba stomping Kriaz at this point, but it's a Narcus from Heaven to pinch the ace. But it does not matter, because Finest are up to 17.
No Mario, no Goomba stomping, just that range. The AWP's coming alive once again. It was, you know, 3 AWPs in play, 2 from one side, and it's those 2 that come out on top. Play the numbers, and Anakin's, to no one's surprise, delivering on yet another kill to deliver his 30th. Now he joins Flasher in terms of top and the frags.
Oh my word.
Dafu, nearly, very, very nearly. We've seen that one work before, and he gets very forward to stay alive. Same time he's Zello, though.
Yeah, nice done. Oh my god, Manx through the smoke, takes down Shocks. And that is a beautiful opportunity for them now to make it their first. ECSTATIC 4-on-4. They're still getting a bit cheeky. They're still having a look here and there. And well, it's silent across the board. Very, very harsh, but more importantly broken, as a developed short play attempted here from ECSTATIC.
Yeah, Twist very forward to stay alive as well. I think gets caught in transition. This time he'll fall. Numbers once again back in favour of ECSTATIC as they make their way out and towards that B site. Molotov in towards Barrows gives them comfort, but an aid is good.
Oh, well, nice shot from Kriaz. This AWP has been lights out, but it needs to come up again here for Finest as he's in towards the wooden short. It's not going to happen whatsoever. The bridge, not enough to keep him alive, and so an Arquez 1-on-3 required. I'm wondering if he has an upgraded pistol. It's the last round of the half, and he has 13k, so I hope there's a 5.7 in his back pocket, but it's the AWP to claim the first. Looking for a second here on the retake, tossing in the nade, but he's caught out in the open. 16-17. Fasher He'll find the last. So it is looking promising here for ECSTATIC. They move across to that CT side to see if they can continue to uphold. And well, everyone going to get ready in the server once more, Neo. And hopefully this second half is just as promising as the first. Because a good showing for the first 2 rounds here for the boys. Basically, the Kriaz show, it feels like, for Finest. ECSTATIC, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, we highlighted Anarchist, but I mean, Kriaz, that secondary orb, it has been stunning. In those 2 rounds individually, brilliant. And even towards the final one, making just at the very least, a little bit uncomfortable for the T side. And that's the brilliant thing that we mentioned about this Finest roster, that for them, you know, you look towards the likes of ECSTATIC, and if Fasher doesn't show up, they struggle a little bit, right? I mean, he is that big name on that side. But then when you look towards Finest, there's no one name. Yes, Anarchist, of course, is kind of statistically their best player, but even if he doesn't show up, Kriaz will step up, Plesson will do exactly the same, so they're never relying on anyone.
No, absolutely not. And well, heading into our 4th round of overtime, the first time we see ECSTATIC on the CT side since the 15th round of regulation. Time to see if they can show up, and so far it is a very big push towards middle, but an even bigger advantage game by Plesson, 5-on-4.
Not about to start. Well, so I say, number 4 level, Zello, ball blind, good for 1. Bird from Sky, the IGL stepping up as well, and a Molotov will deny that presence over towards Long, and now things go a little bit skew over towards the T side.
What a great opportunity. They find 1. And well, see if they can keep that advantage, keep the numbers game in their books, tap it away, Dafu low, but they do manage to retain ever so slightly. And well, 55 seconds left of this round. Time for Finest to get a move on, coop up their resources and commit to a site. They've got smokes galore, they've got mollies, they've got flashes, they've got everything in the books. Let's see what they can do.
Slow tempo, as they're, well, slowly making their way out towards that B site. In comes the utility now, running their way forward, and no one's there to meet them. And that at the very least, to give them a bit of comfortability, 4x3 means that Shock doesn't swap the gun barrel in towards heaven that we do, but a smoke in the face will deny that presence.
And well, bomb set down, 3-on-4. So sure, that bomb is in play, but there's 4 against 3 on this retake. Now made down to 2. As Bird from Sky will find the opener. Kriaz and Shox left remaining. Back at the site. They've got to fight out, and it's from Pillar. The Shox can find 1. And a second headshot goes his way. It's Dafu on 6 points of health in a 1-on-2 scenario. 1 by 1 they face, and 1 by 1 they fall. Dafu taps it, does not stick. But Finest should be up to 18 because a peek from Kriaz will find the last. And it's 18-16. Map point Finest. Their pick looks to go their way.
Yeah, it's really, really nicely played once again. And when you consider how it started, it wasn't looking like a good kind of 4th round from them. But that success on the T side that they found initially in towards this map number 1, that gave them that 6-1 lead. They've done exactly the same. Once again, 18-16, as you mentioned, map point. Finest map pick, and they're potentially 1 round away from taking it. But they need to kickstart things as Plesson's dropped to 69.
Well, from here, Finest, the negotiation method continues. Let's see what they can do. They take the early HP disadvantage, or trying to get inventive towards Long. And after some time, I think ECSTATIC realized playing passive was probably the better game. It was a very late push. When they did manage to push, feels like it managed to come off, and it was pulled off very nicely. So I think there's a chance. There's an opportunity, no doubt about it.
For sure.
Just have to wait and see. Zello, he's found the opener, though.
Nice start. Plesson falling, an important kill. He's been one of the more impactful riflers over towards that Finest side, second to only Anarchist, so not a bad start at all. Fascius needs to be careful. Nearly caught you on hand. Molotov will drop. And at the very least, keeps him alive momentarily as Bird from Sky comes in for support.
Utility tossed in. ECSTATIC trying to make these players as taggable as possible for these M4s that they have to hold. Well, time ticking away. 35 seconds left of this round. Zello's claimed a second. And the big AWP for ECSTATIC continues to perform, continues to show his value as the temporary stand-in here. Molly tossed out. Fasher goes aggressive into the corner, but it will find him 1 anyway. Shox in the Molly, had to run forward, and with 20 seconds left, into the meat grinder they go. And ECSTATIC, a flawless way to end number 35. It's 1 more map point here for Finest, but should they concede, we'll have a second overtime up next. So there's a pretty big opportunity here did ECSTATIC continue their terror here on Overpass?
For sure. Exactly that. 1 round lead, but 1 round in it to decide whether we start making preparations to map number 2 or ECSTATIC prolong the misery and, of course, keep this one taken over towards OT number 2 and then, once again, really build up that pressure because then they start on the CT side in towards the second OT and things become a little bit dicey up in that finest camp. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, they haven't started off round number 6 with a nade damage and that chip damage that has been so constant for them.
Spam attempted, bird from Sky. We call them the brains behind the team this time. Not meant to be. And it's silence. Dead silence across the board. A minute and 10 to go. And a boost comes up directed towards Bridge. And well, it's found a first and spot of a second. That's brilliant. That's unbelievable. ECSTATIC get away with that. 5-on-4 advantage. There's no recoverable factor from that. ECSTATIC just earned themselves the early lead. Nothing more than it.
Oh, Fasha good for one more as well. I think we should start making preparation for OT number 2. It's a 5 versus 3, and this one's going to be a tough takeover towards that B side. In comes the utility, a double stacking towards water as well, just trying to deny that presence. Dapo needs to be careful, but could be at one more, traded through the smoke, but a 3 versus 2 has got a lot to do here.
And well, there we go. A 2-on-3 scenario. It's absolutely manageable here. Continue to work towards the B site, and Arquez is Orb holding in towards Hell. Fasher, will he expect this? No, he won't, although he does fire off a single shot. It's a quick trade from Bird from Sky, and it's a double down from the IGL. ECSTATIC 18, finest 18, and we head to a second overtime here, Neo, very, very shortly from now. Man, oh man, what a series this has been so far, and it does not end just yet. We've still got more Counter-Strike to watch out on Overpass.
Exactly. Still got, at the very least, 4 more rounds of Counter-Strike and Overpass, and this, once again, shows that these two sides, they're so evenly matched. But now I think the more concerning thing for Finest is that ECSTATIC stars on the CT side, and that's where ECSTATIC have been the better side. On this CT side, they've been very good at just kind of keeping that consistency ticking across, and well, as we stand, now for them, you know, pick up 2 rounds, potentially even a third, in towards that first half of OT number 2, and that could be enough for them going on towards, of course, the T side. We'll have to wait and see, as this one doesn't want to end.
It is going to get pretty interesting here, Neo. Round 1 of our second overtime. First to 22, that's what you're looking for 4 out of the 6. And oh my, wait, what has just happened? Bird from Sky got a run boost in towards short. He sat behind his own molly. No terrorist would expect this position to be assumed here from Bird from Sky. Sure, the molly's gone from short, but look at this, Kriaz. He's not even going to look to his left, and so this could be a freebie here from Bird from Sky. And well, unfortunately for him, Kriaz moves in on short, and he will pick up the kill. Dafu not smoke from heaven, though, so as Manx tries to hold on, he's just delaying for the seconds for Dafu to strike. A double from the heavens, and a double flash from Fasher. He's going to continue to launch them across. They stack them all up. And Finest, they have to hold. 2-on-3 scenario, rethink the game plan. They have got that bomb moved to cross in towards Monster. Side control is actually theirs, but they've just got to be careful for Heaven before they set the C4 down, and that they have a smoke for.
Yeah, well, smoke in their face. Shocked is also cautious of the push coming through from Dafu. Going to be in for the trade, though, and that's the first round of OT number 2 going in favor of ECSTATIC. And this is what I spoke about them starting on their CT side and giving them that kind of wealth of momentum in their favor. Another prime example once again. 1918, the first round goes the way of ECSTATIC, and that's the steps they wanted to be able to close out their opponent's map pick.
Yes, absolutely. And starting on that CT side, we're yet to see the pressure built onto Finest heading into the second half of an OT, right? It was they that start on the CT side in OT number 1, so yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult here for Finest to have a read into exactly how ECSTATIC played the CT side, because the one round they did need to win, they did, Neo. You know, Finest got their one round on the T side, that was it, they were done. ECSTATIC won the other 2, and so far so good. And Arquez and Zello, both Orcs, finding some success here in the beginning of the second round. There's a 4-on-4 to come from it.
Well, as we stand, oh so slow, passive. And what we want to see from more ECSTATIC is maybe that little bit of aggression coming through. But speaking of, Fash going to get caught off guard. Shocks from behind. Didn't quite expect such an aggressive push in towards bottom con. And I'll pay the price for it. The numbers go in favor of Finest as they look to tie this game up once again.
Well, Towards short, Dafu peeks in, Kriaz, oh, and he's even pre-fired it. Dafu, a masterclass for the short pressure. Manx is going to run away. They relieve all of that pressure from short. And all of a sudden, the numbers game no longer one way. It's a man advantage dissipated. And Arquez as well taking a bit of damage through the smoke. It is chill. It is relaxed. And more importantly, it is ecstatic now with that level gain at the 40-second mark. They've got choices to make here, Finest.
They do, and they're going to be tough ones at that. I mean, numbers in their favor, but it's a similar thing in terms of what we saw prior, where they've left time to a very little amount on the clock. 25 seconds to work with and a tough clearance. No utility means a free kill for Mike. He can just fall back, drop in towards water, re-invite that pressure coming through, but that's where Annika steps up. Good for one. The Molotov not quite out of the hands just as of yet. And they haven't seen yes, as you mentioned, go towards barrels. Manx holding, waiting, and denying that plant. A laboured spray finds it. And with 5 seconds left, it's down to one man. More Annika, he's going to fall. What a swing.
And Arquez couldn't do anything against the masterclass of Manx. That is brilliant. And as I said, as you commented on as well, he moved across towards barrels. No one spotted him. They had great timing to try and catch him, but just not good enough. Yeah. And he just slips right by, head tucked down. They assumed that he was still in on Monster. They heard the water drop, but they didn't hear him move past. And well, that's that. It's a 20th on the board for ecstatic. 2 away from taking that one away from Finest. Molly going to be dropped in. Nate tossed out early. And the damage continuing to amalgamate here for ecstatic. A 30 to 50 HP lead established before a bullet is even fired.
Smoke dropped in once again in towards Monster. Just denies that presence, and for Finest, they're starting to feel that pressure just a little bit. On a 2-round deficit, and 2 rounds is all that ecstatic need to take their map pick. So they know all too well how important it is. They walk straight towards Fasher. Good for one more. It's 37th kill so far. Make that 38. It's better fall through the smoke. Not able to make it a third though. Twist good for the trade. Nearly converting on a second. Zello's AWP has to just make a step away.
They're not going to shy away from a commitment just yet, Neo. They're throwing the util. They want to take face here, Finest. And the flash over the top, it does blind the CTs, but they don't go off the back of it. And now it's the ecstatic turn to go aggressive. And it's another multi-kill from Manx. It's a double this time in round 39. Kriaz, while he's good for 1 to pick up the orb, there's still 3 more to go. And he does find a second. No way should he be on for a 1-on-4 like this. Flash over the top. Zello to take a more passive approach. Kriaz to pull the trigger. So they know he's stuck with the opening. They know that he's stuck out towards short. It's just a matter of who commits where and what time they want to commit with. As Kriaz tries to close the gap. I'm surprised he hasn't switched back to a rifle. But he does want to take the one-shot wonder with him. The AWP still in his pocket. As he moves closer forward, Manx in a position to capitalize, but Zello standing in the open. That'll be that. All 3 for the CT side. Ecstatic 21 to 18. Finest, they need all 3 on the CT side, otherwise they book themselves a 0-1 loss here on Overpass, and it's a reverse sweep required on Ecstatic's pick heading into Ancient. It's going to be difficult, man.
Yeah. Times are tough. Times are tough. But this is what I spoke about. Coming in towards OT number 2. That CT start for ecstatic. That gives them the momentum. And we've already spoken about prior about how much of a momentum-heavy side Finest are. When they have the momentum, they're unstoppable. When they don't, they struggle to get it back. And this is what we are seeing now. Where it's do or die. 21-18 is the score map points for the likes of ecstatic on their opponent's map pick. Finest, the pressure insurmountable right now, as they know that Ancient is going to be a slog to try and turn back around.
Absolutely. And Arquez, he's going to kick things off on the right foot though. Overtime has gifted him that 5-on-4. The CT side, the all-important man advantage. Something they struggle to do on the T side, and so they are going to be very happy that they've made that one work here, Neo. Question is, what do they do with it? Can they manipulate that man advantage into a round? Max going to be peeking in, but it's Fasher. He'll find the open up. As they progress towards B, Kriaz from short to find 1, and a second with the big green. Smoking himself off. 2-on-3 scenario. Difficult for them to weave their way back out of, but Zello has an AWP, and when he's in control, he can absolutely turn around right on its head. A second man spotted, and they know the other man's on short. This is scary now for Finest, but an Arquez will pick up another. A 1-on-2 for Zello. Peeks in to take face, switches over to the AK, and Kriaz needs to hit the shot, and that he does. keeping the dreams alive of Finest. It's 19 to 21. 2 more to go to take us to triple OT.
Oh, that was really nicely played, unfortunately, until that last kind of just slight jiggle peak. It wasn't really needed, but I think he was oh so wary of that aggression coming through from short and just wanted to get some security over the information. But a nice attempt to make it down to the 1 versus 1. The post plant nearly successful in delivering the map, but this time not the case as we stand 19 to 21. 22 is what we're looking for. ECSTATIC are 1 away. The question is, can they even make that step, that last step necessary to take their opponent's map pick?
It's always going to be a difficult one to close the show. But a powerful statement could be made here in this round. And a great start and a great way to enter the chapter of round 30, or rather 42, but an even bigger one from Twist. A double kill while blind, shocks a triple. And just like that, Bird from Sky and Dafu left to pick up the pieces. A 2-on-4 scenario, most certainly not ideal. And with 1:15 to go, there's every opportunity that they can make their way across the map and out towards A, and that they look to do so. All 4 players committed towards B. Admittedly, 1 from Connector. And ECSTATIC will find themselves a vacant A site. A rotate coming in from Pleasant, though. If they can set that bomb down, this is still entirely doable here for ECSTATIC. Nate goes deep. Bird from Sky to try and take some aggression.
Flash will come through as well. This allows Bird from Sky just to go for a slightly more aggressive angle, and they're going to double stack this, but they're also cautious of the flank, and Dafu, rightfully so. For the first one, Twister's going to fall. The AWP still in play, but a shot by Anarchist gets punished by Dafu. Speaking of orbs, another missed one as well. Pleasant, how does he play this now as he's got the support of Shocks?
Dafu, he's going to need the ace clutch in this round. All 4 kills in the 1-on-2 required. Bomb will be defused. Dafu's got to swing. He's got to deny the defuse, and he can't quite get it done. Pleasant has it from above. It's 2021. Map point, sure, ECSTATIC, but Finest 2 in a row, and looking like it could be 3, as ECSTATIC roundless on this T side.
So far, not so good. Over towards ECSTATIC, they're struggling. And this is what we were saying about their CT side being great, but where I didn't really highlight their T side because it wasn't as comfortable. And they're showing exactly that once again. We mentioned 22 is what they're looking for, but Finest, 1 round is all they need to push us to our 3rd OT. These 2 sides are inseparable, Ryan.
Unreal, man. Unreal how close this game's been. Both teams just taking the exact same rounds on either side. That's how you end up in overtime to begin with. Overtime 1, sure, it happens sometimes. Overtime 2, Finest, they're there to draw the game. We go for triple OT. Unreal. Unreal stuff. And well, 1:15 on the clock for what could be the last round of this map. ECSTATIC 1 away from winning, and they're faking presence towards A, but the bomb and the rest of the players dotting back towards B.
Once again, we see ECSTATIC just making that slightly committal play over towards the B side. They're ever so slow, methodical in their tempo. Korea's not going to spot out anything too much. Very, very close to the AWP. Second time I'm asking. They're delivering. Third time he actually will.
That's a beautiful shot, and Finest, that man advantage goes a very long way. 40 seconds left. The bomb is making its way towards short. I'm wondering if they're going to assemble the boost to look in towards Monster. That is exactly what they're looking to do, trying to find the advantage. ECSTATIC, 30 seconds left. All attention towards B. All attention in towards Monster. Flash going to be drawn out. Mags to find the opener. A 4-on-4. Shocks will hold his ground, though. Zello to trade. Orb shot missed from Kriaz. He's still looking to recover as the second shot connects. Dafu and Zello, they have to make things work. P250 drawn out for Kriaz. Surely not like this. Deagle spam from an Arquez. 21-21. And we go for another overtime, Neo. We go to triple OT. And map of Overpass is not done just yet.
Yeah, what a marathon of a map number 1 so far, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to throw this one to an ever so slight break. Give us some time to just catch our breath. And we'll be back for OT number 3 in just a second.
got the better half to start on. Let's see if they can make things convert. Missed flash from Fasher, but it does look to be more of an A-heavy default taken by the Danes heading into this first round of third over. I'd lose count how many rounds we're playing at this point, mate. I just looked at the top. I hope to see,
gone,
you know, like round, you know, it's just like round 27 out of 30. Overtimes don't help us. It's just like,
nah.
My brain's fried, mate. Too much good Counter-Strike, not enough brain power to count the rounds.
Yeah, I think if I'm right in saying it's the 43rd round we're now in to.
Man.
Yeah,
6, 12, 18. Oh.
Am I right in saying? 21 each, add them together.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. That's my quick math. Dafu, good start for him as well. He's really revitalized himself, hasn't he, Dafu? I kind of highlighted earlier that he really was struggling, and it was kind of for the entirety of regulation he was struggling. Well, finally, starting to find the form that we know Dafu can, and since he's come alive, so have ECSTATIC.
Yeah, I mean, part of that has just been the Fasher show, right? Manx as well has done a really good job. Zello's 31 and 24. There's some seriously good games coming out for the ECSTATIC boys. Let's see if they can continue. Kriaz, he'll hold his ground for the first. Looking for a second. It shots to pinch it away. Another kill for Twist. And the kills rolling for Finest as they pin them down like dominoes. Zello from the Flames will pick up one. Still 2 more to go, but Shocks has got the last. And it's 22-21. Finest with first blood in triple overtime.
Minus on their map pick, not backing down just yet. I mean, it's looking already, we send them out a marathon, and it might be exactly the same. But I think what the real highlight here, Retro, is that ECSTATIC on their T side have really struggled to find consistent success. They found sporadic success here and there, but they can't find that consistency that we see a little bit more over towards the Finest side. Hence what we saw, you know, the 6-1, for example, to kickstart this map. I mean, that's for me where things do become a bit of a problem, that ECSTATIC might always struggle in towards OT. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. Dafu before, make that a second as well. As Annika's falls, and that's an important kill.
And another kill going in the way of ECSTATIC. This time it's Manx to draw blood from short. It's Kriaz to hit the deck. Twist now needs to go huge out towards the A site. And while he's good for one, we're going to need to see another 1 or 2 at least from him in this round to keep things competitive and put Shocks in a decent position. Zello to pick up the bomb, and well, they might just move back towards A.
The question is, do they? I mean, as we stand, numbers favouring the T side. And it's a 1-1 split for Finest, which essentially leaves them so isolated. ECSTATIC, wherever they go, all they have to do is play the trade game, and the trade game benefits the T side in this round. Round number 2 of OT number 3. Just to find one at the very least. And manages just about fall away.
He still needs to find one more, though. I think he still will need to find another. Fasher tapping back and forth. Flashbang can't find it. 1 HP the difference. And so Shocks now left in a 1-on-3. He's going to be coming from the lower site from B and up towards A. One will actually be planted towards him, though. It's actually the bank plant coming in. And well, Shocks moving in from CT. He's got the first, and it's Manx. A brilliant flick to find it. A second kill could be on the mark as well. Zello the high HP, but his AWP has got the mark. 22-22. ECSTATIC retaliate in our second round of third OT.
And who would have thought it? We're tied square once again, but a really nice post plant from ECSTATIC there. They found the opening double at the hands of Dafu, and once they got that man advantage, they're never gonna lose it. It was a decent attempt by Finest, but the numbers were too far gone. As I mentioned, the trade game benefits the T side, and ECSTATIC showed that all too well. So 22-22, we're tied square heading into the final round of the first half of OT number 3. Bit of a mouthful there. Who's gonna take the lead?
Yes, it's gonna be difficult times. Of course, if ECSTATIC can find this round, Leo, I mean, man, oh man. It would be a big, colossal, a huge comeback attempt for Finest on their T side. We'll have to wait and see. 1:20 still left in this one. No casualties to begin. What, rounds 20, 45? 45, there we go. Maths.
45.
Getting there. I got an E in my A-level, mate, so this, I'm a lost cause. Quick math, never mind all of that. So yeah, I'm not the best person to ask, but numbers definitely favouring the side of Finest. It's Shocks to open things up with a first, and a second kill for him. Deagle drawn out. Oh, Shocks Deagle has found success. Maybe a quad, but no, denied by Zello. A 1-on-5 still required in this round with 50 seconds left. And Arquez having none of it. 23-22. My oh my, Neo. This is spicy. This is getting interesting. And more importantly, this could be the dual end-all here. Is one round enough for the T side heading onto that CT? ECSTATIC are going to need all of the rounds on the CT side like they did in the previous if they want to get things going. And well, we're at the halftime break. They seem inseparable right now. Honestly, inseparable.
And once again, you know, you look back towards ECSTATIC, their CT side is their real strong point. So now as you stand, they're going to go in towards their strength. But yes, they only picked up one round coming in towards the first half. But it's where, on CT side, where they find all their comfortability. And the same can't really be said for Finest. Of course, Overpass is one of those maps that is generally seen as CT-sided. And ECSTATIC know that all too well and have kind of abused that system to work in their favor. But for Finest, we just need something special from them to be able to close this one out. Of course, 25 is what we're looking for. But I think that's easier said than done to come by.
Alright, here we are, our second half of third OT. If you've only just joined us, this map has been going on for an hour and 50 minutes. Really is sapping the life out of us here, but it has been nothing but enjoyable Counter-Strike to be watching. And well, the game is not over just yet, it does continue. And if Finest want map 1, they're going to have to take 2 away on the T side. If ECSTATIC wants to take this map away, they're going to need to find all 3 here on the CT side, or else we go to a quad OT now. And I could not tell you the last time I casted a quad OT. Unfortunately, ECSTATIC, they found the man advantage. Zello, he's found Kriaz. That 5-on-4 picked up for the CT side. Whether they can retain it or not is a different question. As Zello, again with the AWP, just finding success after success, shot after shot. And it's not looking like he wants to stop yet. Dafu through the wall will find Twist, but the AWP is still pressed up towards short. And Finest in a 2-on-5.
Zello's causing issues. We've already mentioned about how this has been kind of a battle of the AWPers in towards his map number 1 so far. And, well, Zello's making a statement for his own name. A double kick start things, aggressive in towards short water, and just like that, Finest have down to 2. And Zello potentially in for a little bit more. Gonna be able to deliver. Blessing gonna fall on for the quad. Will he find it? Is the question. Is Anarchist the double to deny? And it's not gonna be the case. 23-23. Zello, maybe the stunned in AWPer, but he's delivering like a regular player as he's up to 39 kills. Just one shy of Fasha.
Yeah, this has been an unbelievable turnaround from Fasha. I do not believe what we're watching. Honestly, mate. I mean, I've had some bonkers games. I've had some seriously crazy games in my time. 16-0s, you know, double OTs, triple OTs. Never have I seen a game that has just gone pound for pound, trade for trade, kill for kill. ECSTATIC versus Finest, it has lived up to all expectations, and well, what better man to start the round number 5 of our third OT than Zello himself, finding that advantage. 5-on-4 picked up, and for Finest, it's now back to the chalkboard. Let's see what they can muster up here from the man deficit.
And that trade game now benefiting ECSTATIC. They don't have to do anything over Zealous. They can just take a little bit of a step off, give away that pressure, and play for the double spray down of Dafu. Bomb dropped, and surely now round done as Anarchism Shocks left in a troublesome, tiresome 2 versus 5 with nothing to work with, no bomb in their hands, and surely that's ECSTATIC finding 24, and more importantly, Retro, ECSTATIC finding map points.
It's looking that way, and Arquez and Shocks are going to need to put together a masterclass performance. 4-5 kills between them both. And as you said, the chances here are very, very minimal. 40 seconds left on the clock. And well, as the time dwindles down, ECSTATIC just in more and more power to be converting this one. As you said, it's map point. Could end all of our suffering here in OT heaven. I think I've had enough for the year. As Manx, he'll find the force. One man standing. Shocks are 1-on-5. And with 24 seconds left, his days are numbered as well. A very nice first shot and a second shot as well. Good God, Shocks. Snappy accuracy, but unfortunately 2 is not enough. ECSTATIC 24, map point, and to pinch away the pick here of Finest. It's a do or die moment for the Seaside.
Is this the time? That is the big question at hand here. 24-23, 1 round is all that ECSTATIC need. And for Finest to deny, they've gone for the fabled double setup once again that has been so successful for them.
Well, here we go. Zello having a peek towards Monster. And he will go down. Kriaz.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what's happening? What is happening? Bird from Sky. He'll pick up one. We're jamming out, apparently. I don't know what's going on.
We're jamming.
Yeah, we're just...
No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, having a good time. Bird from Sky moving up from Connector as well. Having a look. He will get taken down. Plessen, he'll find another. It's a 3-on-4 scenario. And well, Neo, in this situation, it's looking like it could be a 4th OT.
Potentially. I mean, it's numbers in favour of Finest, and to make matters worse, you look over towards ECSTATIC, and they're so isolated. Fasha, who's alone in towards short, has to come alive for something, and he will. Good for one. And now in a 3 versus 3 standing, he's brought the numbers level and able to just fall back over towards the A site and just play oh so passively. Twist going to go back in towards front bathroom, try and regain a bit of that map control, but there's no information to be found.
Well, pressure starting to build up a bit here on the A site, but it's towards B that the bomb goes, and as they face on in, Kriaz shall fall. Manx has found the opener, the orb dancing on the pillar, and it's a 2nd kill to his name. He does get taken down at the 3rd hurdle, but it's a Pleasant 1-on-2 required, and while he's able to punch in the digits, the CT players are looming. Fasha has the last,
GG.
and it is the end to Overpass. Finest map pick does not go their way, but it was a hard-fought battle. It was 3 overtimes worth of stuff